Nitpix.
And Alan talking about movies. They may be best friends, but they always disagree.
Nitpix.
And Alan, I seen that.
And so this is the first time. This is our 5th podcast together now, but this is the first time without Max.
Yes.
And it feels so much more room to talk and to breathe and just kind of enjoy life.
Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely seems like he's weighing you down. If it were me, I would get rid of him.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
No, I'm just kidding.
I've been thinking about it. He's kind of basically, if anyone writes any bad thing about him, either on Twitter or in your podcast comments, I will just get rid of him.
All right, that's good to know. Even from me?
Yeah.
If it's me, let's see. Let me pull up the Twitter real quick.
You're just gonna tweet now?
Yeah, I'll just tweet right now. Get this ball rolling.
Well, I'm going to use this time to say I am the voice of the channel, Nitpix, and I also do the editing and co-write the videos.
Yeah, you guys have a really good channel. You guys have really well thought out videos, and the points you guys make on the videos are really strong, and not just like your guys' name is Nitpix, but it's not nitpicky. What you guys do, like you have solid opinions, and
it can be.
Well, everything can be, but we just hit 50,000 subscribers, which was my year goal. Actually, I wanted to get 50,000 in the space of a year, and I did it in 11 months. Ooh, so that's wicked. We're up to 11, so
you're chasing us.
Yeah, we're right on your tails there.
You just started your YouTube.
Yeah,
I like your little edits you've been doing of things.
Thanks. It's not quite as thought out as yours. But
it's still fun.
Yeah,
it's a good idea, I think, because it will definitely drive traffic towards the podcast.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see what happens, but anyways, no Max, just Sam. Sam only episode. Super excited. So yeah, this is your 5th time on the podcast. Technically your 6th time, but one of those times will be secret and maybe never released.
Definitely never released.
We tried
inappropriate things said in that podcast.
Yeah, it got really. I don't even know.
I just want to say I'm sorry for all the insulting things I said to you.
It's okay. I understand we come from different places and different generations, and life is just different now, and respect is not the same as it used to be. But no
Max this time.
We just couldn't remember anything to say, and it was boring to have the conversation. So it was probably worse to listen to. So we decided let's just call an audible and talk about something we both are more caught up on, which is Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Have you watched all of Black Mirror?
Yes, absolutely. So at the moment, when this podcast is out, my video on Black Mirror will be out. At the moment, I'm in editing. I've done about 2/3 of it. So I'm basically, this is the best time to talk to me about Black Mirror because I've just been staring at Black Mirror like hours every day for the last week.
Now, did season 1 come out on TV there?
Yeah, it was on Channel 4.
Okay. And then
it was season 1 and season 2.
Oh, season 2 did as well? I thought that was straight to Netflix.
No, season 3 is the only one that's Netflix. And by the time this podcast is out, season 4 will be out as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Black Mirror came out in the UK, it was a massive thing.
Yes.
It was everyone was talking about it. It was this huge thing. Because Charlie Brooker, who is the creator of Black Mirror, he was semi-famous in the UK anyway, because he used to do these shows called Screenwrite and Newswrite. And he used to do Election Watch, and he used to do like the year. He basically would sum up everything that happened in the year, and he was very funny, and he would have little skits in there. So like a lot of people liked him, And then he came out with Black Mirror, and it was this unlike anything else he's ever done, which was all very like journalistic, kind of like non-fiction, just kind of witty presenter kind of personality. And then Black Mirror came out, and he wrote most of the episodes. I'm pretty sure he wrote all of them, or co-wrote all of them.
Man, that guy needs a hug.
Yeah, and he produced just probably some of the best TV, I would say, of the decade.
Yeah. Was it always called Black Mirror? Yep. Okay. Because the first season is very different than the next two. I think I don't think they kind of had it figured out what they were going to do. Because especially the first episode. The first episode feels like it's a completely different show. Like it's all a social commentary on voyeurism and watching and wanting to be a part of things and seeing stuff happen. But it seems like it becomes much more that seems to be more about people and technology, or people and people, I guess, more, and then the rest.
It's about dehumanization, and it's about mob mentality as well.
Yeah.
And it's also about what it perfectly illustrates in the first minute. The first minute of the episode is things have changed. The world is not the same. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, if the government got this tape, it would all be under wraps.
Yeah.
But because it was released online, they have no way of stopping people from seeing it. And that's the immediate thing that happens is it was put on YouTube. It got 50,000 views. And then immediately at that moment, oh, okay. So what this is saying is the internet is this kind of thing the government can't control. No matter how hard they try, they can't stop the internet. People will find out. And it's truly an amazing 45 minutes. I think the episode is. I think it's 45 minutes in storytelling because, at the time, the Prime Minister character is exactly the same as David Cameron. He's so similar to David Cameron with what he's doing and saying, and he's so hated in the UK for a lot of reasons I won't get into. So when it came out, and we actually felt sympathy for him, and we were following his journey, and he was really a protagonist. It was really, really like blew everyone away.
Yeah. So in the first episode,
do you like the first one?
So I mentioned it on our Star Wars one. I have a weird relationship with this show because I love the show. I think it's so well done. The writing and everything is so well executed, and the emotions it brings out of you is so good, but it makes you so uncomfortable. It's weird to say that I like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's so impressive, but it's also like I can only watch like maybe 2 at a time. And before I'm like, I gotta take a break. I gotta go hug my kids. I gotta go get in the sunlight. And
it's uncomfortable in a really, really brilliant way, because it's only uncomfortable because you can see reality and truth in everything.
Yeah,
it's not a cheap way of using abuse or using using some sort of cheap trick to make you uncomfortable, like gore. It's truly uncomfortable because you realize what the world is, and you realize how the world works and how human beings are. And that's what makes it particularly amazing in terms of a writing standpoint.
Yeah, they don't take shortcuts, kind of like you were saying. They like really put in the work. They allow things that are complicated, they allow things to happen that make it harder to tell the story to happen. It seems like, like a lot of times where shows will just be like, they'll just take the easy way out so they can avoid something that's difficult. And Black Mirror does not feel like they do that anywhere. Yeah.
I mean, the first episode is a pilot, so that's why it's low budget,
Yes.
It's low budget. And, I can imagine Charlie Brooker having that script for years.
Yeah.
And just trying to get people to believe in him and fund it and make it happen, because he knew deep down that the second he makes that pilot, you know, people will talk about it and it will get made.
Well,
And
why
then
don't
I've
you
got scripts like that?
do you want to? Why don't you tell the plot of the first episode and what makes it difficult?
So
or
the
uncomfortable?
plot of the first episode is that the Prime Minister of the UK gets woken up and shown a video of a royal who's basically Princess Diana. That's sort of what they imply. It's a very beloved young female royal who sort of the whole country sort of admires and loves. And she's being tortured. You know, she's tied up, she's crying, and she's reading out a list of demands. And she says the princess will only be released if the Prime Minister has sex with a pig live on TV. And it starts off with the Prime Minister being like, we can't, you know, we have to stop anyone from seeing this. And then they realize very quickly that because it was released on YouTube, there are so many clones of it, so many copies of it, that it's already out there and there's nothing they can do to prevent it. So they say, we have to stop all the news from reporting it. And it gets so popular online and on Twitter that there's nothing they can do and the news have to report it. So then they start talking about their options. So they're like, we need to find the guy who's kidnapped Diana, the equivalent of Diana.
Yeah.
We need to stop him before the time runs out. And then they're like, oh, we need to get a performer to have sex with the pig, and we're digitally put on my face on top of it. And the internet exposes the performer because someone takes a picture of him and puts it on Facebook. And the guy who kidnapped her sends a finger to a news reporter with her ring and is like, no, I have her and these are my demands and we know what you're doing. And if you do this, we will kill her. So in the end, there's a series of news reports, there's a series of polls, there's like these interviews with the public, and all his advisors say, listen, if you have sex with this pig, people will respect you more. Like, it will be better for you politically. They'll see you as a coward if you don't. So he ignores his wife's wishes. He ignores what would make him a human being, a respectable human being, and does this act. And he says it's to get the safe release of the princess. But I think it's more of a public thing because he wants the public to respect him and he wants to be seen as this man who does the right thing.
Well, yeah, because before he does it, before they get the actor to come in, before that gets exposed, the public was on his side.
Yeah.
And then once the actor storyline came or got exposed, people were like, they turned on him. And that's when he changed his mind about what he was going to do.
Yeah, and getting the finger sent as well definitely accelerated that. But this is when the Black Mirror twist comes in. He has sex with the pig and everyone's getting really excited to watch it on TV. They're all buying beers and they're all screening it everywhere and everyone's watching it and they're all excited. And he does it and there's just this look of complete horror and this real feeling of, you know, they wanted to see this. They wanted to see this man humiliated on TV. They thought it was amazing. But like when actually they see it, it's just something that no one really is comfortable watching. And it seems like for a second they realize what they are. And then the real twist is the princess is released before half an hour before he has sex with the pig.
Yeah. Just on the road.
The guy knew, the kidnapper knew that he would do it. And the kidnapper kills himself after releasing her. He cut his own finger off. And he was an artist who won the Turner Prize, and the whole thing was a piece of modern art.
Yeah, and he set her free just on a bridge, but because everyone was getting ready to watch
Westminster Bridge, yeah.
Everyone was getting ready to watch what was going on. No one found her for.
No one found her. Yeah, because no one was out.
Because if they would have found her, they could have just called everything off. And
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. That it was ever made. Like, I don't know how he ever sold that idea. Just like, hey, the prime minister is going to have sex with a pig.
It's a great script.
No, yeah, it's really good. But like, getting that on TV, Like that's
It wouldn't have been a thing on TV in the UK. Like they don't actually show anything.
no, yeah, not. But just the idea just seems so extreme. To me, it's impressive that someone would be like, okay, let's do this. This is gonna work out well for us. But
Yeah, no, it did. It worked because it is just really good, and I think everyone could relate to that, and everyone realized, well, if this was to happen, I would watch it.
yeah,
I would want him to do this. And that's the true reflection of yourself, which is why it's called Black Mirror. It's like this dark reflection of yourself and of our reality as well. Where if this was to happen, we would all want it. We would all want to watch it. And what does that say about us? Yeah.
What is your favorite episode of Black Mirror?
So my favorite episode of Black Mirror is then the second episode of season 1.
Okay.
Which with the actor who was in Get Out recently, and he's in this futuristic alternative world where basically everyone lives in this cube, and it's all touchscreen on the cubes, and they all cycle all day on these bikes to earn points, which they use to spend on things for their cubes, like virtual reality things in their avatar, things to make them a little bit happier. But they are imprisoned. They're in prison, and he meets this girl that he really likes. He thinks she's a great singer. Gets her on the equivalent of X Factor, and they immediately go like, "Oh well, you're not that great of a singer, but you're really attractive. Like we could make you a porn star." And because she's taken this drug that makes you compliant, she agrees to do it. And Bing, the main character, is forced to watch her, in a porn film. This beautiful, innocent, woman that he sort of was infatuated with, be completely sexualized and objectified. He has to watch that, and he starts his plan. He saves enough money. He goes on the equivalent of X Factor. I think it's called Hot Shots. He does a stupid dance and then grabs a broken piece of his touchscreen cube, puts it up to his neck, and says, "I'll kill myself unless you make me speak." And he does this big rant about everything being messed up and the society being completely wrong. And they go, "Oh, that was really great. We'd like to give you a slot." So then he sells out and he starts to do a show where he just rants about how wrong everything is. And there's this idea of, well, has he changed anything? No, he hasn't changed anything, and he's become part of the problem.
Yeah, it feels very kind of like YouTube when you got these people who kind of H3 somewhat, where they were very critical and thought out about what they were, the people they were talking about and stuff, and have now kind of surpassed all of that, have kind of flipped. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it really is it's so brilliant because what Charlie Brooker has done is he's taken our world and our reality, and he's simplified that, and he's brought it down to its core elements, which is instead of a home, people live in a cube where everything is, entertainment based, which is sort of how we live our lives.
Yeah.
We go home from work and we absorb media.
Yeah.
And that's it. We just need an entertainment, something to entertain us. And then we go to work, and like a job is basically cycling. You're basically just working on a treadmill. and then this idea of being a star and being something more and making it in the world, and this ambition for fame is done so perfectly because he simplifies that to just a talent show, and these people decide who's famous and who's not famous. But obviously, it's a metaphor for the entire entertainment industry as a whole.
Yeah,
and it's just probably like the best hour of television, like in the last decade. I would say. I would say there's very little that can top that.
It's interesting because that was probably one of my least favorite ones, that episode.
Why was that?
I don't know.
Too surreal?
Maybe. I'm trying to remember why I didn't like it. There's not like a specific thing. It just... It might have been the tonal shift from the first episode to that one that I just found jarring. Because it like you go from episode 1 and you said that was episode 2, right?
Yeah.
You go from 1 to 2 and it is so different. Like
I think it's more of a genre shift rather than a tonal shift.
That's what I mean.
Because
like
tonally it's very similar.
You have a very grounded in the real world, like everything is relatable in the first one to this one where, the themes are relatable, but none of the world is,
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so good in my opinion. Because if it was set you couldn't tell a story like that in a modern relatable world.
Yeah.
You have to go fully surreal with it. And I think as well, there's so many little things in the episode, like the way that the humans interact with each other as well. Like when he speaks to the girl, there's kind of an impression that he's not allowed to. You get this kind of feeling that he's not supposed to be talking to her, that there's something wrong with talking to her. And the way that he interacts is so awkward and shy. And there's that man who's just insulting the fat people, and just like he's just really aggressive. And yeah, I think it's Lee Mack, who's an English comedian. I think it was he was played by Lee Mack. But yeah, no, I love the surrealism. I think that's what Black Mirror does really well, is it creates really fantastical worlds in a way that it's so different from our world, but so similar at the same time that we connect with it. And I think in terms of that episode, there's literally no bit of dialogue. There's no scene in there that doesn't progress the story in some way.
Yeah.
And the story is so subtle, and you can watch that and see it on a surface level and not connect it to our world at all and still enjoy it. And I really, really do rate that one.
Did you notice they're using that song in Jurassic World trailer?
Yeah, and they've got the lead actress from a season 3 episode as well. Ginger.
Bryce Dallas Howard, is that her name?
Yeah, she was in the series 3 episode 1, Nosedive, which is the Instagram episode where they were rating each other.
Yes, yeah, the Uber star, 5-star.
It was funny because I've been editing this Black Mirror video for a week now, and I was like, I'm going to take a break, see the new Jurassic World trailer. And I was like, oh come on, Black Mirror, leave me alone.
That song, I like it. Is it for Black Mirror?
Yeah,
I love that song. It's
beautiful.
Yeah, it's so, and they use it. They use it about 3 times throughout the series. I think
they use it twice. I think that's what really separates Charlie Brooker from anyone else at the moment working to make shows, is that he will put in that extra effort of writing and recording a song for an episode and make it a good song.
Yeah.
You just don't see that level of complete, commitment and creative passion. And that's what I really, really rate him for. But it is worth saying that my video on Black Mirror is going to be negative.
Against it? Why is that?
Yeah. It's on the worst episode of Black Mirror.
Which one is that?
Have you seen all of them?
Yes. All of the ones that are out currently.
Guess which one's the worst one.
Let me see.
If you can guess it, then it means I'm right.
I'm trying to. Let me just name off some. You have the one with John Hamm, the Christmas one.
That's my favorite one. No, it's my second favorite.
There is the one with the eye recording. There is it's not my favorite, but the one that affected me the most was the one with the woman who kidnapped the girl. And
White Bear.
White Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, that one like messed me up for a long time.
Why is that?
What's that?
Why is that?
The idea of going through the same torture over and over and over again, day after day after day, not knowing why you're doing it, and then feeling helpless is something I guess that connects with me. I don't know if that...
Because that's every day with you in the podcast.
Just being helpless?
It's just the same never-ending torture.
Yeah.
No, I think what makes the episode really great is the idea of if you don't remember what you've done wrong, are you innocent?
Yeah.
That to me is brilliant because there is no answer to that. There is absolutely no answer to that question, and I don't think White Bear is particularly good. I like it, but I don't think it stands much to. I think season 2 is the weakest season. Because Be Right Back, the one with the guy where the guy dies and she brings him back.
Is that the one that you did it on?
That's amazing. I really like that episode.
Oh, really?
And then episode 2 with the White Bear one, I really like the ending. But everything up to the ending is kind of like what Charlie Brooker's doing. Is he's kind of he's misguiding you deliberately to make you to make you think the story's going in one way, which is this like cheesy, generic, like alternative world kind of story. And for that, it hasn't got much rewatchability. And also the generic story that he's doing isn't massively engaging. It's because it is him trying to be cliche and generic. So it's kind of like, is it worth being cliche and generic for half an hour if the last 15 minutes is interesting? I say on the first watch, yes, but after that, it's I could rewatch the other Black Mirror episodes over and over again and find new things. Whereas with that one, I don't think it had that. No, the worst one's in season 3. The worst ever episodes in season 3.
Okay. I'm having a hard time keeping them.
So I'll list them. So Nosedive's the Instagram rating one.
Yep.
Then it goes from that to Playtest, which is the virtual reality one.
Okay.
Then it goes from that to Shut Up and Dance, which is the one with the kid, with the young boy who's being blackmailed.
That might be my favorite one.
Then after that, it's I'm trying to remember what episode 4 is. I know there's Men Against Fire, which is the army one.
Yeah.
And then there's the one with San Jupiter is the one with the virtual reality in the 80s one. That one
was
lesbians.
Weird, but I think it's the second one that you.
And then after that is the last episode of season 3, which is an hour and a half long, and it's the 2 detectives and the robotic bee one.
Oh, that was weird.
That's the worst one.
The
bee one. My video's on the bee episode.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I remember that. Now I thought that in my head. I was watching clips of The Flash recently, doing some video stuff. I thought that was a part of The Flash. I was looking like. Yeah. I thought that whole episode happened in the Flash universe.
Yeah, it is miles and miles and miles and miles below any other Black Mirror episode, by far. And I'm gonna really destroy it in the video, so I don't really want to repeat myself massively on this, because people will watch the video, I'm assuming. But basically, the main reason is it doesn't have a social moral message. It doesn't have a theme that brings us attention to our dark reality, which is what makes Black Mirror special.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have anything that makes Black Mirror special in it.
It's just a thriller, basically. There's a killer who figured out how to manipulate bees and is killing people.
And the bees have absolutely nothing to do with this message that they kind of like meekly do, which is about abuse on the internet and this idea of dehumanizing public figures and just attacking them online.
Yeah, so he's
anonymity.
He's going after Twitter trolls, right? That's the Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
not. You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's a terrible episode.
I noticed in editing, there's one part where there's a shot where it says, "What is hashtag death to?" So basically, you do hashtag death to, and then the person you do hashtag death to at gets killed by the bees.
Yes.
But then on the third day, everyone who used hashtag death to gets killed by the bees, because the villain thinks that human beings are basically like these insects, these evil insects that attack people, and he wants to get rid of that by killing them. But if you were to tweet, "What is hashtag death to?" you're not using any hate speech. You're not being aggressive to anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that whoever tweets hashtag "What is hashtag death to?" gets killed by the bees. Like, and I watched it with Max, and I said to Max, "Would we be dead?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "But come on, we would probably like joke about it on the Twitter." And we're like, "Yeah, we probably would do like hashtag death to Stephen Hawking, or we just do something really weird with it." We'd be like, "Yeah, we be dead." And I'm like, "But that's not really hate speech. Like, we're not really voting for anyone to die. We're just making a joke out of it." So like, it actually has more problems under scrutiny rather than more than it becoming clearer under scrutiny, which is what the other Black Mirror episodes do. And the message is that hate speech is bad, sort of, but like not really. It's not like it doesn't. The main villain is someone who hates hate speech. It's not even someone. The main villain is someone who overreacts to Twitter trolls. It's not even like Twitter trolling is bad. It's if you Twitter troll, you might really upset someone who might kill you. Which is just like, what
Do you
are they
think-
trying to say with it?
Are the makers of the show just annoyed with people who tweet at them?
No, I don't. I think
I was just
I
kidding.
think Charlie. Maybe Conan O'Brien's coming after me after my hate speech against him.
Yeah, because if you tweet like, "Hey guys, don't use hashtag death to," and then you die because of that seems unreasonable.
That's very unreasonable. Yeah, no, I'd rather talk about the episodes I really like.
Yeah, let's
just
talk
because
about.
I'm gonna submit 10 minutes of just abuse to Black Mirror.
What was it called? Dance, baby, dance. Is that what you said it was?
Shut Up and Dance.
Shut Up and Dance. That episode, I think, is one of my. If it's not my favorite one, it's in my top 3 for sure.
I really like the end with the Radiohead music. I love the twist so much because I've basically been sort of stating, that we should be a little bit more. We should look at the issue of pedophilia in a more nuanced way, a more understanding way, rather than immediately villainizing anyone on that spectrum. Because that's what we do as a population. If we find out anyone has any attraction to children, we immediately, that person's scum, they deserve to die.
Yeah.
When actually, it's not as simple as that. Like, there's a lot of things which, in psychology, a lot of things which trigger those sorts of feelings. They're usually people who have been abused as children themselves.
Yeah.
So it's really really deep, and it's something that I think art form and media and narratives are starting to pick at that and look at that. But we're still a long way off. And I really liked how they made the main character someone who looks at child porn, because that's really controversial.
Well, yeah.
And
you don't know until the last.
Did he deserve it?
The last like 30 seconds. You think because his webcam gets hacked when he's masturbating, and then you think he's being held ransom for that video. Like it's like, man, he's doing, because so these guys are like giving him missions to do, and they each one is getting progressively more and more illegal and more dangerous and more just harder to do. But it's like, man, at some point you would give in, be like, you know what, I'm just going to be embarrassed in front of my school. But
absolutely.
And then at the end you find out that it was child porn. You're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. because I spent the whole episode just like being really frustrated and being like, just let him release it. It doesn't matter. It's just porn. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Because the last thing is him fighting to the death with this other guy. And
Yeah.
like, man, that's aggressive. But it it all ends up everything gets released anyways, which is the other like this kid is just tormented this whole episode. Then everything ends up getting released, and everything was for naught.
I'm just going to use this quick occasion to plug my friend Harry's Moving Castle, who makes analysis videos on Black Mirror. So if you've ever seen a Black Mirror episode analyzed on YouTube, it's probably him. Check out his channel because he makes really good like Black Mirror videos. And his one on Shut Up and Dance is really great. And you should check him out, Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried about your shout out during the child porn section of this podcast.
Yeah, Harry's Castle's known people. I think what it does so well is it really does it brings out the idea of what are we willing to do to stop our secrets from coming out.
Yeah.
And also this idea of now that we live in a technological like era, everything we do, all our dirty things, all our secrets are very accessible, and it's not as easy to cover up as it was before. And then also, like, what does this new technology bring into ransom and terrorism and all organizations like that? Because it is brilliant the way that they frame this world, where they have this man deliver him. Was it a cake? I can't remember what they bring him.
I think he delivers a cake. I think that's his first.
The courier who gives him a cake is like really scared as well.
Yeah.
And like everyone he's interacting with is also under the same level of ransom demands. And I love that so much, that everyone he interacts with is like really like uncomfortable and stressed, scared. And the character who cheated on his wife is also really great.
So I couldn't remember. Not everyone was caught with the child porn. Everyone just had a secret.
It's just him. He's the only one.
Okay. And
everyone has other secrets.
They never explain who's behind all of it, right? It's just some random people online.
Also, in my head, I'm imagining the guy who cheated on his wife, who's like with him, who helps him with the bank robbery, is Bronn from Game of Thrones.
I don't know. I don't remember well enough.
That's what I'm imagining in my head. I'm going to look it up just in case it is him, but I don't think it is. But yeah, I mean, the ending with the music as well. I can really see why that's one of your favorites. For me, I started watching it. I was a bit like, oh, come on, like, why would he do that? But then it just made so much sense at the end. That it's just brilliant. And then on the rewatch, it's so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because in the opening scene, it is Bronn. It is Bronn.
Is it him?
Yeah, it's Bronn. And then at the very beginning of the episode, he works in like a fast food place, and he gives something to a child. Like he gives the child like a toy or something. And then that has so many meanings on the rewatch. But like when you first see it for the first time, you're like, oh, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. So I've only watched. So I've seen White Bear twice, and I've seen White Christmas twice.
What do you think of White Christmas?
That's another one. That ending. I don't know how powerful it would be if you're not a father, but being a father, it was so just gut wrenching. That idea of not being able to see your kid and having this idea of like, they're so close. They're right there. I just, because he wanted that baby before, and she wanted to have an abortion, and then left, and he finds out that no, my kid is alive, and he's holding on to this hope of his child. Yeah. And then it turns out that she cheated on him, and is like just so like deflating, like all hope is gone.
Yeah. Black Christmas is like my second favorite episode, I think. And for a long time, it was my favorite episode. I really love that episode because it's 3 episodes in one almost.
Yes.
And all of them are amazing. I love the idea of you having an Alexa, which is just a miniature version of you that's being tortured and it's enslaved. And it's like the question of whether that's ethically correct or not.
Yeah.
Because it's so brilliant. It's so brilliant. It's like, because that could easily happen. That could easily become our future.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So
they do cloning. That is a thing that could happen.
What they do in the show is they implant this chip, or what do they call it? An egg? No.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know, it doesn't matter. They implant this chip into this lady's head, and it's just recording her thought processes and how she does things. And over the course of like 2 weeks or a month, it builds this chip into her personality. Then they remove it and put it into this Alexa type egg that is only meant to, cook the food how she wants and order food when it's getting empty and set the temperature and, do all these
for a rich person, yeah.
all these menial tasks. But the chip believes that it's actually her. Like it's
from the perspective of the show, we see her go in for an operation, and then we hear her thoughts, and we hear her being like, oh my God. Like what's happening? Like, why am I so small? And it, and someone just being like, that's not really you. That you're not really you. You're a chip. You're not a human being. But it's got consciousness.
Yeah. And then the idea of being able to just make them do nothing for months.
Yeah.
That would be that.
Simulate time. Yeah.
Because she refuses to do it, and he's like, all right, well, I'll come back in a week, sets the timer, and it goes for a full week in her time, in her perception, but it's only like a couple seconds in his. And then she is still defiant, and so he does it for 6 months or something like that. And she's like, all right, just give me anything to do. Like, I can't just not do anything anymore. And so breaks her, and she gets into doing just these menial tasks. Horrifying.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yes, as well. And I love John Hamm's character in that. I think he's my favorite Black Mirror character because, this idea of him being a really great talker, really great negotiator, and the idea of him live streaming like a date he's having. He basically, someone goes on a date and he's like a pickup artist, and he's able to talk him through exactly how to do the date. And he looks at the he looks at everything he sees, and he's able to bring up Facebook profiles of everyone in real time. And I love that sequence to bits. I'm really obsessed with pickup artists. I think they're fascinating creatures. Do you know much about pickup artists?
No. I mean, outside of Hitch with Will Smith is about as far as my pickup artist goes.
Who dedicate their life to chatting up women, and they have certain techniques they do, and certain physical moves and certain phrases they have, which is supposedly to make women attracted to them. And it is they are so fascinating in so many ways because their community is incredibly sexist and incredibly toxic. And they genuinely, there's an actual genuine discussion on whether their techniques do work or not. But I think the real idea is that if you approach 100 women, one of them will probably be interested in you, regardless of what techniques or what skills you use.
Yeah.
It is quite fascinating. And John Hamm is basically one of them in Black Mirror. And he's using different techniques, and he's like, oh yeah, tell her you saw a centaur walk in, and with a horse. A horse came into the bar the other day, and he's like, oh, now chat up her friend in front of her. And this idea, and it's brilliant. And then the final thing about finding out, trying to get this confession out of this guy, and it integrates all the other stories we've seen in that episode.
Well, but before that one, did you see her suicide coming? Did you feel like that was so when John Hamm is helping the guy set up the date, he goes back with the girl to her house.
No, I didn't see that coming.
So this was the first episode I showed my wife, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that. I knew that was going to happen." I was like, "How?"
Yeah.
And I was
remember
just shocked because
my partner, when I showed them Fight Club for the first time, was like, "I saw that twist coming," and I was like, "No, you didn't. Shut up. Shut up. You didn't see that coming."
I saw the end of Fight Club before I ever saw the movie.
Oh,
and it was it was very sad.
But yeah, I mean, season 4 is looking really cool. I'm really excited to see what they do for season 4.
Yeah, so I've seen some of the names, and I know one of them is in space, which is concerning to me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the first episode of season 4.
Okay,
it's going to be a subversion of Star Trek. They're gonna build up Star Trek for probably 15 to 20 minutes, and it's going to be all Star Trek-y, but there's going to be something a bit weird about it, and then they're going to make something really messed up happen, I reckon.
Yeah.
I'm working with one of the lead actors from the season 4 episodes in February.
Oh yeah.
So he told me a bit about his episode, which sounds really interesting. Yeah, his one is all going to be black and white, and it's going to be like, he said it was going to be like 40 minutes long, so it's going to be really short. And it's just going to be 3 characters, and that's it all the way through. And it's going to be very it's going to be very small scale.
Yeah,
he said. So that sounds cool, and he's a really great actor, so I'm really excited to see him in it. I really like how Black Mirror casts unknown actors.
Yeah.
Because as well, that's a brilliant thing to add to the community, because you look at season 1 of Black Mirror. The first episode is not an unknown actor. He's a very, very popular actor in the UK. I can't remember his name though. I've seen him. He's really good. Second episode, the actor who plays Bing is now in Get Out, but he was cast off Casting Call Pro, which is a free online platform. If you're an actor in the UK, you just put yourself on that. I don't know if you have it in America, but
probably something like it. I don't know anything.
You just need pictures of yourself, and that's it.
Yeah. And
so he was cast off that. He was an unknown, wasn't in anything, and now he's in like one of the biggest films of the year. You look at the episode. Look at episode 3 with the guy who's got the thing in his eyes. He can look at memories.
Yes.
He was recently in a feature film as a lead actor. I can't remember what he was in. And then season 2, the guy who gets brought back to life, he's in the new Star Wars. He's the commander who's in the very opening scene. That's him.
Season 2, the guy gets brought back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a robot.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not really him. It's his online presence.
Yes. I thought you were talking about the old guy whose first ship gets blown up, and I was very confused. No, it's the commander of the First Order. What did you think of that episode?
Be Right Back. I love it. I love it to pieces. It's brilliant. It's terrifying because if anyone's lost someone before, you do want to bring them back, but you realize, and as well, it's such a thing that you can do, and I think it's actually it's an actual service now. Black Mirror predicted it. Black Mirror predicts so many things that actually happen.
Yeah.
So I actually think you can have that now. If you've had a relative who's died, they will look at all their texts and all their media, and they will do it. It's an actual thing.
I think the show made the point so well about how empty that personality would be. Like your online presence versus your actual personality is so different. Like one, you got so many filters, or you could be, just making jokes all the time online. Like you just don't have, it's not going to be the same thing. Yeah,
and I think as well what it does as well, which is really a testament to how good the writing is and how good they cast it, is it shows grief. The grief of the main character, the woman, she shows and portrays grief in such a believable way, and it's a shame, but so many shows and so many movies fail to create that idea of grief and she is truly a mess, and she's truly like, you really do believe that she is incredibly depressed, and I think that's what makes that episode really strong as well, because you understand her mindset of wanting to bring him back, and then he plays it so well as well. He plays it like, hello, like, as a social media presence, and then in the end where she almost kills him, but instead she keeps him up in the attic, and then is it like on her birthday or Christmas that she gets to spend some time with like her dad up in the attic?
What did you think of the VR episode, the horror video game?
Well, I assume that you haven't taken many drugs in your.
I've not.
Yeah, as someone who has taken my fair share of drugs, the ending where it's revealed that like basically he's just dying.
Yeah.
And he's in the room with his mum, and he suddenly realizes that he's dying, and he dies, and you realize everything we've seen is just the last few seconds of his life. That is so brilliantly exactly what a bad trip is. Like, exactly, in terms of the sound design, in terms of what you see, it is really perfectly this idea of a bad dream, or your brain like kind of like hiccuping, and that is insanely good. And I wasn't that into it until that ending, but because I liked it loads, and I like this idea of this man losing his identity, and this idea of, oh yeah, horror's fun, horror's scary, oh let's get scared, and then he's truly psychologically like messed up, and this idea of playing with what's part of the game and what isn't part of the game, and what's actually happening here, and that mystery, I really liked it. But I wasn't blown away until that final bit where we realized that his phone is ringing during that has caused a brain fluctuation, a brain seizure. I think he has a seizure or something.
Yeah.
Or just a stroke. And I think that's what makes it really great. One of the best ones of season 3 for me. A lot of people didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't. I actually, that him dying really turned me off for that episode. I didn't really care for it before that, so it wasn't like that big of a loss. But I don't know. It just felt. It's not the same as like, oh, it was all a dream. Wake up and everything's fine. Like, to resolve conflicts that would be unfixable, like that some TV shows can do sometimes. Whatever. It wasn't as bad as that, but it felt just very cheap. Like, oh, this whole story was nothing at the end of it. All this stuff, all his interactions, everything going on was. I know what you're saying there, but what I would argue is that what it's saying on a deeper level about, if you let something into your brain, if you let something to change your perception of things, if you let some form of foreign technology to get plugged into your head and dictate what your brain senses, you are at serious risk in a lot of different ways. They had him hallucinating things. They had him losing his sense of identity because that part of his brain was damaged, and then they had him dying. And I think that's really the ultimate, what they're trying to say with that episode is just that, yeah, cool, virtual reality is all fun and stuff, but if we take it to an extreme level, how can you tell the difference between what's real and what isn't? And I think he needs to die at the end in order for us to realize that ourselves watching a piece of fiction on virtual reality can't discern the difference between what he's simulating and what's actually there. And when we realize none of it was real, and all of it was part of his head, that overall message is really communicated well. Yeah. Which world would you want to live in if you had to pick one? The first one, maybe? That's probably pretty easy.
doesn't really count.
Yeah.
I do. As a filmmaker, I do love the idea of your eyeballs recording everything.
Yeah.
Being able to watch that back, and I love the world it creates because it makes it seem fun. It makes it seem fun, and then you realize that like how much that could mess you up. Like if I had that eye thing, because I'm generally quite an anxious person, or someone I'm someone who worries a lot and overthinks a lot. And I think if I had that, like these cameras in my head, I would just be constantly rewatching things and analyzing things and questioning why I said things, and like trying to find deep secrets within my friends and family. so I think it'd be pretty messed up. The Waldo episode. The Waldo episode with the politician one, where it's like a cartoon. A guy voices a cartoon character to run for
that
MP.
That was interesting.
A lot of people hate that episode. A lot of the times when I say to people, I'm doing one on the worst episode, they immediately go, "Oh, the Waldo one."
I don't think it's the worst. It's just, it's a strange... It's almost too cartoony, but it makes a good point, especially when you compare it to what's going on in America right now. I'm
just going to have this whole point in the video where I specifically say, "Oh, the Waldo problem isn't the worst one, and this is why." But in the end, I just cut that out because I like debate and discussion, and I'd rather have other people try to tell me why Waldo is a better episode, why Waldo is the worst episode, rather than me, saying, "Oh, if you say, yeah." But I will say now that the Waldo episode is better simply just because it has a message.
Yeah.
And it's a likable character who's at the fore of it, whose moral values get questioned. Someone who's disillusioned by politics, gets involved in politics, and then realizes that that it is so toxic that he himself, with this character, can't control it, and that his character he created will be used and puppeteered to meet other people's goals. He goes and tries to change things, and actually it gets worse. And I really do like the Waldo moment. Or it's called the Waldo effect, or I think it's the Waldo moment.
Remember.
I really like it just because it's it's funny. Like, it's genuinely funny, and we can all understand what he's saying about politics. In terms of which world I'd rather live in, I guess the one Sanju Pate, because I quite like to go to the 80s. That'd be quite.
Well, there was a bunch of different worlds, wasn't there?
Yeah, no, I'd love to do that. I'd love to go into that world. And there's nothing evil about it. It's actually very nice. They never question. That's my biggest criticism with that episode, is they never question, well, isn't it just natural to die? Isn't death a natural part of life? And if we have everyone who dies join a simulation world, aren't we stripping down a bit of what makes us human? And also the idea of, well, once you're in that world, is there any way to get out of it? Like, what if you want to leave?
Yeah.
What if you're miserable? What would you do? And I would have liked that to have been explored, but I don't mind massively, and I kind of like a positive Black Mirror episode. That was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was an interesting one, because so you have all these older people, right? There's no young people. It's not just like a VR, like an online world that you can go to, right? It has to be. It's for like people who are real sick, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what but I imagine in that world they would have a different server for non-sick people.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like treated as a therapy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can go back to a time when you were young, when you were at your peak. And I like how it's the same street, but in different eras of time.
Yeah.
And I love that, and it looks beautiful as well. It looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah, but if it's the same story, but it's, people who are in their 20s who are spending all their time in this virtual reality, it becomes a very different thing. But because it's these people who are bedridden and can't do anything and are dying and are on life support, it's like, oh no, that's great. Like, it's a weird concept of when it would be a good thing versus not.
Yeah, and I like how it explores. I don't know if this is grammatically correct, but lesbianism in a way that's relevant to the plot as well. Because in a lot of media, what they do is they'll have a gay or a lesbian character or relationship, and it will just be there for the sake of diversity.
Yeah.
I'm all for having diversity and having these people get mainstream attention. But if you just throw it in for that sake, you're not going to make people think about a lesbian relationship. You're not going to make people critically look at themselves and look at their own biases, which I think is important to do. So in that episode, it's written in that she never had a chance to be with a woman because in her youth it wasn't as socially acceptable. And I think that's what makes it really great as well.
Yeah, and the end is so one person is already stuck there, right? Like one of them is
She's dead.
She's already died. She's in the world.
Is she already dead? I think she is.
I think so. I think she's permanently there. Because
or she's a vegetable. She can't like speak. She talks. She's just hooked up to a machine.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think
because they meet in real life and get married in real life. Right?
I can't remember.
I think they do. I think they convince one of the orderlies to get them married in real life. Anyways, the one has decided, I'm going to stay here. The other is like deciding, should I stay in this virtual world or die naturally so I can be with my husband? And that conflict for her is very powerful.
Absolutely. And in the end, does she decide to go to this virtual world?
Yes.
Last minute, yeah.
Last minute. And she breaks up. There, she's like, I've been married to my husband for whatever it was, 50 years, 40 years. Like, I want to be with him. I want to see him again or whatever. If that's an option, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's very heartbreaking because it makes sense, both ways. And then she ends up coming back, which I felt like was a weaker choice story-wise. I think, especially for Black Mirror, but it was a happier ending, like you were saying. Like I think if she would have stuck to that and it would have just kind of ended on that note, it would have been stronger, but it was still really good.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I just would have liked it to be more challenging in terms of, this world is great, but what are the faults of this world? We never see the faults of this technological advancement. It's just seen as a purely good thing.
Yeah.
And Black Mirror usually says it sees a world that we in some way want, or in some place we inevitably will be at, whether we like it or not, just because people will like that idea and it will happen and it will become normalized. But then they also show the dark side of that as well. And, Black Mirror's whole stick it's called Black Mirror because it's showing the dark reality, of our world and also the technological screens we all spend our time staring at is a literal Black Mirror. But we don't see that dark reflection of our reality in that episode.
Yeah.
Not that that's a massive problem, but I think maybe it was written in that way. And then they actually felt, you know what, let's just make this a bit happier.
Yeah.
And you know what, it's nice. I like it. I mean, actually, I was so excited to binge the entirety of season 3 when it came out. And then the virtual reality one playtest, when that ended, really, really, oh God. And I just couldn't watch anymore for a day.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched more than 2 in a row. I was like, there's only 14 episodes, 15 episodes. I think 6, and 3. Is that right?
Yeah. Men Without Fire, the army one. I really didn't like that one until I saw Harry's Moving Castle's analysis video on it, where he explained some of the deep intricacies that happen in that episode. And that made me really respect it a lot more. Because I felt it was a bit on the nose and a bit a bit like, oh well, whatever. But then video games are turning us into killers. Great, like that's what I thought it was kind of getting at. But it really wasn't. It was
kind of a propaganda piece, right?
Yeah, and I'm now that I've seen that, I respect the episode more, and I think it truly is like proper unnerving when you see the scene again, except their faces aren't like alien and grotesque when they're just people.
There's no reason for them to be the enemy, and it was just so because the first half it's kind of boring, like it doesn't really make sense, and it's not until that reveal.
I think that's what Black Mirror's sort of fault is in order to subvert your expectations and give you a twist. They need to do something quite generic and cliche in the first act, which is why this this Star Trek episode thing that they're going to do in the next season is probably going to start off being, fairly generic Star Trek slot, and then it will become interesting later on. And I don't mind that too much, because even though it is generic and it's not saying anything interesting for the first bit, you need that in order to, you can do that army episode without having the first 15 minutes, establishing the status quo in that situation.
What's amazing about Black Mirror is they are able to start with a blank canvas, build a world, and then almost parody it or, subvert, like in one episode. They do it so much better. Their world building is so much better than so many other shows, and they're doing it consistently.
Absolutely. And that is just the power of good writing. And I think actually, like, finding good writers isn't as hard as it seems it is. We see these great writers and we immediately, put them up on a pedestal, but actually there's fantastic writers everywhere. It's just that they don't get that platform to really write something engaging and interesting unless companies and industries are comfortable that will bring a profit. And that's because I worked in a TV company for a few months, and it was soul destroying because all they wanted was to make something that would give them profit, something that would appease the masses rather than something that was going to be intellectually stimulating. That's sort of what I want to get into in the long run is producing content like Black Mirror in terms of finding writers and directors who can really, tell a new and interesting story. And these Black Mirror is doing so well because it is just good. And I have always had this philosophy that if you make something that's good, your audience will find you. And there's this guy called Chris Morris in the UK. He did a show called Brass Eye. Have you heard of that?
No.
So it was kind of like a parody of news shows. It's a parody of 90s, I think the American equivalent is what's it called? The guy who exposes pedophiles. What's his name? Chris Hansen.
Oh yeah, To Catch a Predator.
What's his show? Yeah, but what's it on?
Well, he had his own show, but Dateline, I think.
Dateline NBC, yeah. So it's basically a parody of Dateline NBC.
Gotcha.
So like an English version. So he'll be like, drugs are ruining our country, and like it's really brilliant. But he started off on BBC Radio 1 at like 5 a.m., like the graveyard shift, and he was just making such good quality content on that radio show that everyone just flocked to him. And South Park as well, like they started off with just a small 5-minute sketch that they made
on a VHS.
On a VHS, and the audience found them, and they made it. So if you just make something truly great, like, you will find your audience, and that's what Black Mirror really is. A lot of people in the UK criticize the new season of Black Mirror for being too international, because the first 2 seasons are all English based, all set in the UK, and I think that's silly because these are not universally UK problems. These are worldwide problems, and it's not particularly Americanized. You have American actors and American characters, but these are still relatable issues. So
John Hamm was kind of the first American actor, right? In Black Christmas, it was kind of the first.
Yeah. But Channel 4 was really weird because they had Black Mirror. They had this great intellectual property, that was really popular in the UK. And they only gave Charlie Brooker 1 episode. They said, we only want to commission 1 episode. And that was the Christmas special. And that was outstandingly good.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want to do anything more with Black Mirror. And luckily Netflix picked it up because it did so well on Netflix. It was one of the most watched shows on Netflix. So they said, well, we can buy it off Channel 4 and make new episodes. And I'm assuming Channel 4 are now kicking themselves for not investing in that property which they had.
What's your opinion about the episode structure in the UK? Because what's a normal run? 3 to 6, right? It can be
it can literally be anything.
Is it? Okay.
There isn't a normal episode run. We literally don't have one. Sherlock. It depends. If you're talking about daytime TV, it's usually 24.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like fictional content, then you've got one-off documentaries. You can sometimes have 3-episode documentaries. When it comes to fiction, if it's a Channel 4 fiction show, it's usually 10 episodes, like Skins and that. Mm-hmm. But if it's if it's something else, it's usually 6. Like in between is there's a 6-episode thing. It can literally it can be anything. It's really hard to say because TV in the UK has really been is absolutely changing now because so many people are online now.
Yeah.
That like the BBC are kind of making dramas, but they aren't doing particularly well at the moment. Like Doctor Who is the only real sort of drama they're investing in, and they recently did this really great one with Tom Hardy, which Tom Hardy wrote as well as performed in, which is called Taboo, which is worth checking out because it's really good. But aside from that, it's very slim. And the comedy in the UK as well is, they keep trying, but I don't think they've figured out what works anymore because we haven't had a successful comedy in a long time.
You guys need to get Ricky Gervais back. It seems to be the...
Yeah, I mean, I love Extras and I love The Office. But, he I don't know what he's doing. I think he's just done the Office movie, which was terrible. So,
well, he had that Netflix show.
Did he?
I think it was a Netflix. It was the character from The Office doing stuff, but I don't think it was any good.
Well, he just did the movie with the character from The Office.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was a show. I thought it was multi-part.
There's also Extras, which is when he's...
I don't like him. I don't know why. I've never...
You just said you need to get him back.
Well, yeah, that was all. I thought that was more clear that it was a joke.
No, Ricky Gervais is great.
I can't stand him.
His podcast is great as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
You ever watch Idiot Abroad?
Yeah.
I love that show because my life is very similar to being in different cultures. But
I like the subversion of those kind. I like the subversion of documentary, which is happening a bit in TV. Like we've got Nathan For You. Have you seen Nathan For You?
Yes, I love that show.
It's brilliant. Have you seen Nirvana the band, the show?
What is it?
Nirvana the band, the show.
No.
So that's on Vice. It's a Viceland show, and it's so good. It's so good. It's like a drama with two actors, but they interact with real people, and it's shot like a mockumentary.
Huh.
And it's just really funny. You have anything more to say about Black Mirror?
I
kind of done.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Let me think. What are you most looking forward to in this next season?
I'm looking forward to being surprised.
Yeah.
That's what, really all I want is to be surprised, and I know I will be. I have no doubt that there will be some bangers. You know, from everything I've seen, Jodie Foster's directing an episode as well. I'm really excited to have a look at that.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's so refreshing because it's so different. You know, it's very like even episode to episode is so different, and they kind of. I'm a bit afraid that it's gonna be kind of M. Night Shyamalan-esque, where the expectation is to be shocking and to have these twists to where that is the thing. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, what's the twist for this episode? And that's your concern.
Black Mirror's always had that. Black Mirror's always had that.
No, I know. I don't think it's hit that point.
What Black Mirror does is it makes you forget about the fact that they are going to have a twist by making a world and making you enjoy that world so much that you almost forget that it's going to have a twist. But they don't always have a twist, you know. It's not like, oh, everything you've seen has been a lie. Like they sometimes just have characters slowly escalating.
Yeah.
There's a slow escalating amount of extremities. You know, so the one with the guy with the one with everyone's got a camera in their eye. You know, there isn't really a twist in that episode, but it's just about one man's obsession, just taking better of him and him becoming more and more obsessed. You know, there's loads of ones like that. You know.
Yeah.
So
no, I don't think it's hit that point. I'm just saying, with more episodes coming out, I think the fear is that it'll become a trope itself. You know, that
I don't know if there will be a season 5 of Black Mirror. I don't know if this will be the last one or not. I'm not sure. I think when I watch it, I'll know, because I'm sure the last episode will be sort of they'll end it on a big note if it is definitely going to be the last one. Because I can imagine Charlie Brooker being a little bit bored of it, but then again, because everyone is so new and he has so much freedom to do whatever he wants. It'd be sort of hard to get bored of it in a way. Yeah,
because everything's so different. It's just a high bar to meet, I think. Not that that's a reason to quit something, but like I could see. I just hope that they stop before it gets bad, I guess, is mostly my point.
The thing is, he's constantly getting new writers in, so I think Charlie Brooker just knows a good writer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The only thing I worry about is if Charlie Brooker, if in this episode, in this season, all the Charlie Brooker episodes that he's written are the weakest ones, then I would kind of be like, okay, Charlie Brooker's kind of lost. He's kind of lost what he has to say now.
Yeah. I mean, because how many good ideas can one person really have? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it's nothing against him or nothing against anyone, really. But it's just like, to be so creative and to think outside of the box and to have these unique ideas and premises, I don't think you don't have an unlimited supply of that, you know?
I think what Charlie Brooker does so great, though, is that what he's really done is he's accelerated the idea of television becoming more cinematic.
Yeah.
Because they're shot and written like movies. And I'm really excited to see more of that because, you know, the best TV now we have is cinematic. You know, Game of Thrones doesn't, you know, it's shot so cinematically. It almost, you know, it feels like Lord of the Rings in places, you know, and it hasn't got that low budget TV feel that we had in the 90s and noughties.
Yeah.
You know, it's really been accelerated because the profits are so large on these shows now. And, you know, Dark just came out on Netflix. That's a really cinematic show, and it's a German show that's just come out on Netflix, original. And that is that is amazing, because it's becoming to a point now when a new TV show will come out and audiences expect a certain level of quality to it.
I think more than movies.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think people are more forgiving towards movies being bad than they are TV shows being bad.
Well, I mean, I feel like I've had an aspect of that.
Lost, I feel like kind of started it. I don't know how you feel about Lost, but it was kind of one of
I've never seen it.
It's not very good. But
That's why I've not seen it.
it's probably the first season is good, and the last half of the 6th season is good.
Everyone tells me not to bother, so I don't think I will.
Yeah, no, it's really not that important.
I
But
think it's quite dated as well now.
yeah, probably. I haven't watched it for a while, but it was kind of one of the first shows where you like had to watch it in order. And once that started happening, once it wasn't Full House.
The Wire?
When did The Wire come out? I don't.
Because The Wire was a big thing. The Wire's amazing. I love The Wire. Wire's completely not dated.
Yeah, well, so that's HBO, right? And so that I think is a bit different because HBO has always kind of done its own thing.
And Sopranos as well.
And The Sopranos, yeah. All that stuff has always been a bit ahead of everyone else. Like in the States, NBC, ABC, CBS, those are the main channels that everyone gets for free, basically, right? And then you get cable, and then you get paid, like the HBO type stuff. But Lost was kind of the first serialized one to come out, and once that started happening, once people started getting invested in stories that were longer arcs, you really started to see the quality of the TV shows start going up, and the investment.
It's weird because in America you had, Full House, Saved by the Bell, all these shows, all these sitcoms. In the UK, we had sitcoms as well. We had Only Fools and Horses, On the Buses, loads of similar, with canned laughter and everything. But at the same time, we also had soap operas. We had like EastEnders and Emmerdale from the 60s onwards, and that was all serialized. So, you just watched it 3 times a week, and it was just an ongoing story.
So we had soap operas as well, but they were daytime soaps, and they're like a joke. Like, they weren't, no one took them serious. They're like old people shows, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to say.
Yeah, Emmerdale, Holby City, whatever, these soaps, it's weird. You still have young people watching them in the UK, and I think in terms of storytelling in the UK, we've just sort of we've had less dramas. We've had less of them, but they've been. Oh, Sharp was a big one in America, wasn't it? Sharp.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, is that an English one? I think Sharp is English. It's got Sean Bean in. Sean Bean, Sean Bean.
Yeah.
I think that was in the English show. Yeah, Sharp was in the 80s, and that was like sort of a precursor to Game of Thrones, but like low budget Game of Thrones.
I've never heard of it.
And then we also had Foyle's War as well. Loads of others. Yeah, I think it's just an ongoing thing, but now it's become more cinematic.
Yeah,
that's sort of the.
Yeah, that's the people getting invested into a show, because before in the 90s, at least in the States, you could just like Full House. You could watch any episode out of any order, and you know what's going on. There's no. If you miss episodes 5 through 6, you're fine. Like, you don't really miss anything.
Black Mirror, I'm going to be doing a lot of Full House watching.
But yeah, so Black Mirror is great. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Be ready. It's an emotional ride. Watch Nitpix video on Black Mirror. Would you say watch it before or after you see the episode?
I would say don't watch the B episode. Just leave it.
Just skip the B episode altogether. And you said that's the last one of the 3rd season?
Yeah.
That's crazy that would be the last one.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's the longest one as well.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. All the other ones are just an hour.
What was Black Christmas?
An hour and a half, but I mean, it's the longest one of that season.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that one was really bad. It's not very good. But all the other ones are great. And there's a few that are like exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And I don't like a lot of things. So
You're a very spiteful, angry man.
yeah, that's what happens.
It's good.
I blame my kids. But where?
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, where can people find you?
Nitpix, Nitpix. On YouTube, just search in Nitpix.
And we are I Seen That Pod on Twitter.